Thanks for joining us for BRMC's Healthy Connections. And we're going to be talking with Lori King MaCracken about First Step. Lori, welcome. We're so glad you're here.
Thank you.
It's great to have you on the show again. And for those in our viewing audience that don't know what First Step is, would you just briefly go over what First Step that we have at the hospital?
Right.
What happens?
It is a pain, medication, and alcohol stabilization service where we help people who've become dependent on these two substances. We get them through the physical withdrawals. We medically manage them, make sure that they're safe while they go through the withdrawals, because there are such dangerous risks when a person does experience withdrawal symptoms.
And this is done in conjunction with the hospitalists under Dr. Lincoln Godfrey's group.
Yes, it is done in the hospital, typically 3 nights, 4 days. It is an acute medical stay. So when the patient is there, we focus on treating their withdrawal symptoms. That's our main goal. And then after, we focus on where they're going to go. It's very important to have an aftercare plan. So we have lots of irons in the fire while the patient's there, not only getting them through the physical withdrawals, but then placing them somewhere afterwards.
So that they can continue to do the follow-up.
Life sobriety.
Yeah, because there's so much that goes with it.
Well, there's so many triggers in life, so it's good to continue staying busy on working toward keeping a healthy and clean lifestyle.
And I know that you've had some great success stories. How many years now has it been that First Step has been in?
It will be 5 years.
Wow.
Coming up on 5 years in August.
Wow, that's amazing.
It is.
And I know you have had many success stories.
We have.
Folks that have come through, and I think that's part of the criteria, isn't it, that somebody really has to be willing. In other words, it's not an intervention where family members can say, okay, we're tired of you and your drinking and we're going to put you in this program. It has to be, the individual has to be ready to.
The individual has to be ready. No one can tie their loved one up and throw them out the door. We're not going to come down and pick you up. So the patient does have to be willing. We do have to talk to the individual because we want to get a history. We want to find out what's going on. You know, it's important for an aftercare plan, but we have to find out what's triggering some of this behavior. And some people just need counseling. They need someone to talk to because they're alone. They have no support in their life, and so sometimes counseling is what they need. And then we have the other extreme where some people truly need a longer term treatment facility. And there are so many options when it comes to treatment, from a 30-day treatment to a 1.5-year treatment. So there are options for people. Might have to travel a little bit, but there are many options.
The resources, I think, in Arkansas are a little bit limited, or
they
at least
are
in this area.
In this area, but there are options, and my job is to travel and find more resources. And
I know you're out on the road
so that's
all
what
over the place.
I'm doing.
Sure. And are you finding that are more, I'm going to use hospitals, are there more and more hospitals and healthcare units, that kind of thing, that are starting to get into these programs now, or that are there as a resource for you, or are they still pretty limited?
I find that it's limited, but as I travel, I'm finding more facilities that are willing to accommodate, even though some of these facilities might not be, quote, treatment facility. They might be an assisted living or a physical rehab, but they see the need and they're willing to take patients for 30 days.
Right.
And these patients feel more comfort with the words assisted living versus drug treatment facility. So it's actually, I think, going to benefit us a lot.
Oh, that's great that you're out there and finding these and finding those that are willing to cooperate and help, because, as you said, there's a huge need.
There is.
I mean, I'm thinking of different conversations with our paramedics and that kind of thing, just at our own hospital in our one small location, that talk about alcohol-related accidents that they're treating people, at scene, and it's huge, and it's on the rise.
It is.
So.
every person I talk to, I say, my goal is, I know that there's someone. My goal is for one to educate every person I come into contact with about this service. But my true goal is to find that one person, because I know there's one person out there that just hasn't heard about our service, and I want to make contact with them, because I think it's important not only for them to get well, but for their family too.
Sure, because their behavior is absolutely affecting the family. That's where all of the things like Al-Anon came out of, because you may not have been able to help the particular alcoholic, but the impact on the rest of the family is horrendous.
It is.
So
it is.
And I bet you have stories galore.
Oh, I do. I do.
Any you can share with us without revealing any of any of the patients? Because that's all confidential information.
It is. Everything, any phone call that comes to that office is a confidential call. And even if you come in as a patient, you can be confidential as well. Your name does not have to be outside the door. No. You can be like as if you weren't ever there.
Which is wonderful, and I know because it's a 3-day program. I think last time we talked, you were drawing a lot of people from outside of our Baxter County area, because it's kind of there's such a stigmatism about going to take care of your problem.
Right.
People don't always embrace it as much as they should, as to say, hey, good for you, you're getting some help. Instead it's like, oh, why don't you just suck it up and, stop drinking.
Can you not stop? Yeah.
Yeah.
I was talking to an individual today, and I was telling them, I truly believe that no one ever intentionally takes a pill or takes a drink to become addicted. I really honestly feel as if it's truly an accident. We're not saying that we always make good choices in life, and people might think, oh, well, it's just going to be a weekend fun, and then before you know it, it's a daily habit. But I don't think anyone ever intentionally does this to themselves or to their family.
Right. And a lot of it, the reading I've done over the years is that you can be genetically predisposed for some of this. If it runs in families just like any other chronic disease, and I'm referring to like with alcoholism. So,
some people can have a surgery. Me and you could have the same surgery, and I could, be given the same pain pills, and my body could have a reaction where yours just completely, accepts the fact that you're done taking them and you've moved on with your life, where mine could have a physical withdrawals. And I think that some of the confusion is people feel like they still have physical pain from their surgery, and it's not. It's their body has become dependent, and that's the reaction. It's like, wait a minute, where's that drug you were giving me every day?
Sure, I'm used to it now. And that's the kind of thing, if there's ever any doubts in your mind, if you're a coffee drinker, and I'm not talking decaf, which, the caffeine that's in there, boy, oh boy, stop drinking your coffee and watch the pounding headache
that you get the next morning.
So, because your body is saying, wait a minute.
It's a daily routine for your body, and it's like you've just removed something that I'm used to.
Where's my caffeine? So, yeah. And wow. And the other thing too, as I was remembering previous times when we've had the opportunity to talk, you'd mentioned that there's no separate unit at the hospital, that folks that come in that are going through the 3-day or 4-day withdrawal program are in with the rest of the population, so that there's no, the nurses take wonderful care of everybody.
They take wonderful care, and I feel like we did that on purpose. We want the patient to feel comfortable. They're just like any other patient at the hospital, sick and in need for medical care.
Absolutely.
And there's no discriminating. Your neighbor would not even know why you were there. Our patients go to the 4th floor and the 5th floor, and those nurses are trained for this service. But there's no big flashing lights, nothing. Everyone is a patient receiving medical care.
Rehab.
So, I think that makes people feel more comfortable, knowing that they're another patient receiving excellent care. So.
And the compassion is always, as you said, the nurses are well trained, but primarily what we love about our hospital in particular is the folks that work there that have great hearts, a lot of compassion, and they just know somebody's sick. Doesn't need to, it doesn't matter what the sickness is. They're going to take great care of them.
Right.
Okay. We need to take a short break. We will be right back. Don't go away. We're going to continue talking with Lori about First Step.